Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Josh Shezzy. Just want to say I appreciate everyone who's been posting and reposting videos. Feel free, if you feel like this video will be beneficial to your friends or family, feel free to share it. I always say this because I care about individuals' hearts. I care about not necessarily how successful you are in your earthly life, but I care more about where you'll spend eternity. Let's get right into this video. The name of this video, the title of this video is called Heightened Emotions. And I always say this, and if I sound like I'm stuffed up, I got a little cold, but I'm getting over it. But I have this saying that says, it's okay for us to have emotions, but it's not good or okay for emotions to have us. Emotions is something that indicates a present mood. It's something that you feel at a present moment due to what has, due to your environment. That's why before we understand or talk about the actions from heightened emotions, let's talk about the conceptual stages or the satanic plan or demonic forces that's trying to pressure us to heighten our emotions. Let's talk about what Satan does. When Satan comes to our life, he likes to put us within environments or situations or allure us through our desires to being within certain environments that incubate certain types of emotions. A lot of people, when they get angry, he loves to put people in situations that will incubate anger, so that they will, if those emotions get above a certain level, that person will act out of anger. He loves to put people in the dark rooms watching movies together one-on-one, because he knows that that type of environment could incubate sexual emotions, and from sexual emotions you have a sexual act. He knows that if I can heighten their emotions beyond a balanced level and get them to act off those emotions, chances of them coming out with a successful outcome is very slim. What we have to understand is that emotions is nothing solid. God gave us a brain for a reason. He wants us to reason things out. Anytime you feel like your emotions get to a certain level in an unbalanced state, before you act, you have to get to a situation or to a place where you bring those emotions down. Because if you act off those emotions, chances are you're going to regret how you acted. Think about it like this. Each and every one of us has been in a position in which, like I said before, stuff has incubated certain emotions. Satan knows that if I get that person so far away from God, if I get them from something solid, chances of them building something on a firm foundation is slim. Emotions sometimes puts us in situations or around things that cause us to be self-centered. Usually emotions, we act selfishly, not selflessly. When unbalanced emotions is present, we have to understand what dangers am I causing myself and what dangers am I causing others. Because when your emotions become unbalanced, you make other people's emotions unbalanced, because due to the level that they at now, your level of unbalance make what was their balance unbalanced. See, even in the context of relationships or the context of anything you put yourself in, you have to watch your environment. Look within your environment and say, okay, what am I about to step into? Am I going to step in this using my brain, or am I stepping in this using my emotions? See, anger, lust, not lust, but anger, infatuation, sexual desires are things that, God has put inside of us. Let me get that right. There's certain feelings or things that is nothing wrong. Let me get this right. I'm sorry I'm messing up. But there's nothing wrong with us having emotions. Let's talk about that. It's nothing wrong with us having emotions, because it's okay for us to feel happy. It's okay for us to feel sad. It's okay for us to be angry. But the key context in which we have to understand is that we're not supposed to sin off of how we feel. You're never supposed to act off how you feel, because chances are what you're feeling is just something that has affected what you are presently. That's why the things that God places in our lives transcends everything. When you think about love, there's a difference between love and lust. Love is unconditional. Lust is based on conditions. People lust after each other because of certain conditions, certain body types. Her butt's like this, his eyes is like this, his abs is like this. People's lust is based on conditions, but when you love someone, it's unconditional. See, that's the feeling, that's an emotion that we should express out of, because that emotion is genuine. That emotion has to be also even balanced, but that emotion is okay if it becomes at a certain level, because that emotion is genuine. But lust should never even be inside of our hearts. Pride. It's okay for us to feel prideful over how we look. We should have pride in ourselves. We should have pride to make sure that I present myself in a decent manner. But when pride exceeds a certain level, when that emotion or that self-centered emotion comes above a certain level, then that's when you start looking at yourself or thinking of yourself more highly than you ought to. See, that's why joy transcends happiness. I said this in another video. When you're having feelings of happiness, happiness is conditional. Joy is unconditional, because you can have joy poor as well as you can have joy rich. But not that many people have happiness and poor, because happiness is based upon a present mood. And this is why we have to understand this, because a lot of people have been damaging their lives due to emotions. I mean, if you think about your life right now, if you think about your past, chances are most of the mistakes that you have made in your past was due to you acting off emotions. Most of the fights you've been into was due to heightened emotions. Most of the relationships you got into was due to heightened emotions. Most babies and most abortions and most homosexual acts based upon anything in his life that's negative or have negative results was birthed out of heightened emotions. And what we have to understand is that we have to come into a state where we have to balance those emotions, because if we continue to act off emotions, then we'll have nothing solid to stand on. Think about your life today. Think about those different choices and different things that's forcing you within environments that's incubating or fertilizing or nurturing certain emotions. Because it's those emotions, if you keep nurturing them, you'll continue to produce actions after actions after actions, pushing you further back from accomplishing your destiny. Satan knows how we were genetically made. He's been around us longer than we was born. He knows exactly what environments to place you in. If he knows that you're a person full of zeal, he'll put you within environments that of impulse. If he knows you're a person that's strongly affectionate, he'll put you in environments that will birth that affection. He loves to take what's natural, distort it, and make it perverse. That's what he does. He knows that God has placed inside of us love. That's why he distorted and try to pull out lust. He knows that God's placed inside of us a certain level of pride, but he puts you in an environment that incubates that beyond its level, and it gets to a danger point, to the point to where you start damaging yourself. We have to start learning Satan's devices. We have to start understanding more about ourselves. We have to look within inside ourselves and say, okay, I have emotions, but it's not good for emotions to have me. Today, is your emotions heightened? Are you in environments in which your emotions are building? Are you in environments where you always acting off emotions without using your brain? Because chances are, if you take a step back and you analyze everything in your life, and you look at it from point A to point B, you will better understand whether you should or should not do it. Even with money. Most of the times we jump off impulse. That's what emotions do when they're heightened. When you get in certain emotions, you start doing things off impulse. So think about it like this. Just the other day I went to go, I was planning on getting something to eat. An emotion came up of hunger. I'm hungry. So I said, you know what, I'm hungry. So I said, I'm going to go out to eat. And I thought to myself, I said, just because I'm hungry now, let me really reason this out. I'm strongly hungry, but $7, why spend $7 on a meal when I could take that same $7 and buy something from the store that can feed me more than just this present moment? Think to yourself, what are you jumping into right now that's only going to benefit you for this moment, but won't take care of you for the rest of your life? Are you jumping into relationships off of impulse or emotions? Or are you jumping due to infatuation that it benefits you now? Or are you jumping into love, something that lasts? Are you jumping into opportunities because you have this self-centered pride about yourself that will only benefit you this moment? Or are you in a situation where you're developing your character so that your character will keep you lasting? Emotions are something that only lets you know how you feel now. It never lets you know what tomorrow brings. It never does anything but focuses within that bracket of time that you're dealing with at that present. I'd rather invest in my brain. I'd rather invest in reasoning. I'd rather invest in understanding. I'd rather invest in God's word. I'd rather invest in something that's solid so that I can be able to stand tomorrow instead of falling under my emotions today. Don't allow Satan to condemn you through your emotions. Don't allow Satan to bind you down through your emotions. Because just because you say you have unbalanced emotions does not mean that God can balance them. But the only way you can balance your emotion is to understand yourself more. Use your brain. Think more. Process your thoughts. Process everything, not some things, everything. Because if you think about everything, chances of you making a mistake is slim. Don't operate off heightened emotions. And I may make a part 2 of this video just in case I don't say everything. But thank you for watching my video.